Paradise found, the allure of the West Philippine Sea. The West Philippine Sea, a shimmering expanse of turquoise and sapphire, holds a special place in the hearts of the Filipino people. Its depths teem with life, providing sustenance and livelihoods for millions. Generations have fished its waters, their lives interwoven with the rhythm of the sea. The scattered islands, reefs and shoals are more than just geographical features. They are integral to the nation's history, identity and future. But this maritime paradise faces a formidable challenge, one that threatens its delicate ecosystem and the Philippines' sovereign rights. This is the story of the West Philippine Sea, a tale of resource rivalry, geopolitical tensions, and the enduring fight for sovereignty. A line in the water, China's 9-dash line. The roots of the dispute can be traced back to 1947, when China unveiled its 9-dash line. This ambiguous demarcation, encompassing a vast swathe of the South China Sea, including areas within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone, laid the groundwork for decades of controversy. The 9-dash line, etched onto maps with little regard for international norms, became a cornerstone of China's expansive maritime claims. It asserted sovereignty over features hundreds of miles from its mainland, encroaching upon the territorial waters and exclusive economic zones of neighboring countries, including the Philippines. The Philippines, along with other Southeast Asian nations, viewed the 9-dash line with apprehension. It represented a unilateral attempt to rewrite maritime boundaries, undermining the established principles of international law. The Philippines, geographically closest to the disputed areas, found itself on the front lines of a looming geopolitical battle. The 9-dash line, a seemingly innocuous cartographic mark, had ignited a dispute with far-reaching consequences. Black gold and blue waters, the discovery of resources. The 1970s witnessed a surge in global energy demand, and the South China Sea, with its largely unexplored seabed, became a focal point for exploration. The discovery of significant oil and gas reserves within the disputed waters added a new layer of complexity to the already simmering territorial disputes. The Philippines, heavily reliant on energy imports, saw these resources as a potential pathway to energy security and economic prosperity. However, China's expansive claims, bolstered by the 9-dash line, cast a long shadow over the Philippines' aspirations. The potential for conflict loomed large as competing claims over these valuable resources threatened to escalate into open confrontation. The discovery of oil and gas transformed the dispute from a primarily legalistic debate into a high-stakes struggle for control over strategically vital resources. The West Philippine Sea had become a flashpoint, with energy security intertwined with national sovereignty. The Law of the Sea, UNCLOS, and Maritime Claims. The United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, adopted in 1982, established a legal framework for governing the world's oceans. UNCLOS defined maritime zones, including territorial waters and exclusive economic zones. It affirmed coastal states' rights to resources within their exclusive economic zones. The Philippines embraced UNCLOS for its maritime claims in the West Philippine Sea. China, while a signatory, adopted a selective interpretation of UNCLOS. It asserted historical rights based on the 9-dash line, conflicting with UNCLOS. This discrepancy set the stage for friction as the Philippines upheld UNCLOS, while China pursued its historical claims. Section 5, a reef aflame, the Mischief Reef Incident. In 1995, China occupied Mischief Reef, a low-tide elevation located well within the Philippines' ease. China's actions involving the construction of structures on the reef sparked outrage in the Philippines. Manila accused Beijing of violating its sovereignty and contravening UNCLOS provisions. The Mischief Reef incident marked a turning point in the dispute, signaling China's willingness to utilize its growing naval capabilities to assert its claims in the West Philippine Sea. The Philippines, facing a David versus Goliath scenario, found itself with limited options to counter China's growing presence. The incident underscored the power asymmetry in the region and the challenges faced by smaller nations in upholding their sovereign rights against a more powerful neighbor. The Mischief Reef incident brought the dispute to the forefront of international attention, raising concerns about China's intentions and the future stability of the South China Sea. Section 6, a promise deferred, the 2002 Declaration on the Conduct of Parties. In an attempt to manage tensions, ASEAN and China signed the Declaration on the Conduct of Parties in the South China Sea, or DOC, in 2002. The DOC called for peaceful resolution of disputes, self-restraint, and cooperation in the region. However, the DOC lacked a dispute settlement mechanism and failed to define key terms such as self-restraint and peaceful means, leaving it open to interpretation and ultimately ineffective in preventing further incidents. While hailed as a step towards diplomacy, the DIC did little to curb China's assertive behavior in the years that followed. China's land reclamation activities continued, further escalating tensions in the region. The Philippines, along with other Southeast Asian nations, grew increasingly disillusioned with the lack of concrete progress in implementing the DOC's vague provisions. The South China Sea remained a volatile region, with the potential for miscalculation and conflict remaining high. In 2009, China submitted a map to the United Nations depicting its 9-line claim, further solidifying its position and raising concerns among its Southeast Asian neighbors. The map, with its U-shaped line encompassing most of the South China Sea, was seen as an attempt by China to formalize its expansive claims and undermine the legitimacy of UNCLOS. This move signaled a more assertive approach by China, willing to challenge the existing regional order and assert its perceived historical rights. The Philippines condemned the submission, viewing it as a direct challenge to its sovereignty and a violation of international law. The international community expressed concern over the potential for conflict and called for a peaceful resolution based on UNCLOS. China's actions, however, suggested a determination to pursue its claims unilaterally, raising the stakes in the South China Sea dispute. Section 8. Standoff at Scarborough Shoal, tensions escalate. The year 2012 witnessed a tense standoff between China and the Philippines at Scarborough Shoal, a traditional fishing ground within the Philippines' EEZ. Chinese vessels prevented Filipino fishermen from accessing the shoal, leading to a prolonged diplomatic standoff. The incident, widely seen as an attempt by China to assert control over the disputed area, further heightened tensions in the region. The Scarborough Shoal standoff marked a significant escalation in China's assertive behavior in the South China Sea. It demonstrated China's willingness to utilize its maritime militia alongside its coast guard to assert control over disputed areas and deny access to other claimant states. The incident triggered widespread condemnation from the international community, raising concerns about China's growing assertiveness and its implications for regional stability. Section 9. Seeking Justice, the Philippines' legal challenge. In 2013, frustrated by China's continued assertiveness and the lack of progress in diplomatic initiatives, the Philippines took a bold step by initiating arbitral proceedings against China under UNCLOS. The Philippines sought a legal ruling on the validity of the 9-line and clarification on its maritime entitlements in the West Philippine Sea. This move marked a significant turning point in the dispute, shifting the battleground from the high seas to the international legal arena. The Philippines' decision to pursue arbitration was a calculated gamble. It aimed to leverage international law to counter China's growing power and expose the legal weaknesses of its expansive maritime claims. The move was met with resistance from China, which refused to participate in the arbitration proceedings, asserting that the tribunal had no jurisdiction over the matter. Despite China's non-participation, the arbitral tribunal at the Permanent Court of Arbitration in The Hague proceeded with the case, setting the stage for a landmark ruling. The 2016 arbitration award was a landmark ruling. It was a victory for the Philippines and a setback for China's maritime claims. The tribunal ruled China's 9-line had no legal basis. China violated the Philippines' sovereign rights in its EEZ. The ruling was a blow to China's control over the South China Sea. China rejected the ruling, calling it biased. Despite this, it strengthened the Philippines' international position. Section 11. Navigating troubled waters. The road ahead. The situation in the West Philippine Sea remains complex and fluid. China continues to assert its presence, engaging in island-building activities and deploying its maritime militia and Coast Guard vessels. The Philippines, under President Duterte, adopted a more conciliatory approach towards China, seeking to balance its relationship with its powerful neighbor. The future hinges on diplomacy, deterrence, and international cooperation. A peaceful resolution is essential for regional stability.